Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll continue with our program. Once again, congratulations. We'll begin with the next room, our next room, which is an introduction to cybersecurity. And then under introduction to cybersecurity, we're going to start about networking fundamentals. As previously, we have done so many things so far. How the internet works, ethics, reflections, and then the factors and the rest. Now, we'll begin with the now we are going to begin with the try hack me with the continuations of our lab, which is what is networking. Here for the source of what is networking, let us join the room. It seems like it is one video that we are going to watch toward what is networking. It seems like what's happened with the network. Alright, already on the room. Alright, here is the what is the networking. As you can see here, networking is a simple terms connected. For example, like you calling someone in your phone call. It is an example of networking. We call it a networks. For example, a networks are simple things connected. For example, your prime cycles, you are all connected because of similar interests, hobbies, skills, and such. Like I've told you, for example, what like you and your siblings. If you sat down, you are all connected. Those are example. For example, network can be found in a walk of life, a city public transportation system, infrastructure such as national power grid for electricity. Those were that connected from one place to another. It will call still network, because one thing from the network is that meetings and greeting your neighbors. It old examples of network, because a postal system for sending letters and parcel for starters are all networks. Because one thing is that but more especially in computing, networking is the same idea, just the spread to technologies devices. Take your phone as an example. The reason that you have it to access things is that well covered how this device communicate with each other and the rule that follow. For example, the way you are connecting to each other, that's typically understanding how the network is how example of network is all about. While like in a computer still, a network can be found by anywhere from two devices to billions. Because one thing is that whenever a device is connected to the internet in a computing, it is connected to what network, because this device include everything from your laptop and your phone to security cameras, traffic light, and even farming self. There are some sensors now that have been connected through internet, and the networks are integrated into our everyday life, because be it gathering data for weather, delivering electricity to homes, or even determine who has the right to wait at a road. Because networks are so embedded in the modern day. Networking is an essential concept to gaps in a essential concept to gaps in a cybersecurity. Because nowadays that, like I've told you, now cybersecurity becomes the motherboard of the network. Because take a diagram below, which is us and bubble. I don't know what happened to my network, but there is a specific diagram which shows as Bob and Jen. Because now you will be you will be notified about our our student, our colleague in the field of cybersecurity, which is us and Baba. Because everyone in the field of cybersecurity, they are the example that usually use ALS and BABAP in order to make use of them to connect or to give a scenario, for example, about them, because ALS and BABAP and GEMS, because now you will begin to understand how ALS and BABAP are being connected. Because I don't know, my network, I think I have a problem with the network, but there is one picture here, that a picture ALS and BABAP and GEM have found their network. We'll come on to this a bit later on. While the network comes in all shapes and sizes, with something that you will also come on to discuss throughout this model. As you can see here, the pictorial examples about the network ALS and Bob and James, because as you can see here is a Bob and then this is ALS. Bob, as you can see, Bob, ALS sent message to Bob, then Bob sent message to Jem, then Jem send message to ALS, because as you can see here now, they are all connected toward a network which is comes in the shapes and size, which is here they are all in the same network, because this cycle, it is about the network they try to communicate to each other. One thing is that let us try to, maybe I will answer these questions. What is the key terms for devices that are connected together? So I already said the answer, but you have to answer these questions for you in order to answer it, because toward what I'm still explaining about what is the key terms of devices that are connected together. Maybe it should be network or something else. I don't know the answer, but you should, while solving your lab, you will answer this lab and show me the proof of solving the labs. Then moving to the next task in our networking is that what is the internet. Like previously I have given you an example about how internets work, because back to our previous class about how internets work, because you have all the example about how internets work. It's just this one is a continuation of the internet. Is a one giant network that consists of many small network within itself. Using our example from the previous task, let us now image that ALS met some new friends named Zain and Toby that shows want to introduce to Bob and Jem. The problem is that ALS is the only person who speaks the same language as Zain and Toby, because so ALS will have to be the messenger or the interpreter, because now here is a pictorial example about the explanation of this which is that this Zain and Toby are the example, are the new friends of the ALS, because which ALS want to ALS, she is the only one who understand all their language they speak, and now she would like to introduce to Bob. ALS, they say ALS this, then this is a Bob, and then Bob, they try to communicate to each other, and then I'll say, Toby, this is Jem. You try to communicate to John, and then Bob said, I'll try to introduce Zen to us. Then they try to introduce themselves toward internet, because now example, now they try to give you an example about how internet works, because ALS can speak both language. They can communicate to another through ALS, forming a new network, because now ALS she is the messenger and she is the translator, because she is the only one who understands the communication through their new friends, which is Zen and Toby, because they are going to be on the same networks now, because they forming a new network. Now they form a new network toward ALS, because ALS, she is the key to the Zen and Toby between Bob and James, because the first iterations of the internet was within the ARPANET project in the 1960s. This project was funded by the United States Defense Department and was the first document network in action. how it was until 1989 when the internet, as we know, it was invented by the Tim Berners-Lee by the creation of the World Wide Web, which is WWW. It was not until this point that the internet started to be used as a repository for storing and sharing information, just like it is today. Because the internet, how the history of the internet, it was began since 1960, and then up to today's now. This is a pictorial about how the network, because this one is the internet, and then this one the network one, this one it is a router, and then this one is the PC, and then under the network two we have still PC, double PC, and then this one uh, a server which is under the network two, and then they usually used to communicate under the internet, which is the W World Wide, and then the network three also, it has its own devices, which is a networking devices. One thing is that a previous state that the internet is made of many small network all joined together. These small networks are called private network, where networks connect. Where the small networks are called public network or the internet. So to recap, a network can be one of these two types, where we have two types of network. What is, we have a private network, and then we have the public network. This device will use a set of labels to identify themselves on a network, which will come on to in the text below, because we are going to make use and to answer this question below, which is said, who invented the World Wide Web? Because I already said his name. Just try to provide the answer here, and write his name. After you write his name, then you should move to the next task. Then the reason why now I changed your line format is that I don't need no need for me to answer the question and give you, but rather than for you to go through all this lab and read and understand all the answer for this task. Because now, for previously I usually used to tell you the answers and then we should fill it, but now you have to be undergo thoroughly in order to make sure that you read each line by line and understand the question they usually used to ask you here. After you know the answer, then you should move to the next steps. Then this one you call it toward the end of the last week class, because we stressed to have this one in the first week of April. Then I will still in each of the week we are going to have in two session. This one is the first session of the first week of April. I will continue with the next phase of the first week of April toward to the class that we will begin.